Yes. When can we look forward to having you on again, do you think?
2023, mate.
Once a year special.
Yeah, that's right.
Welcome everyone to another episode of A Beer with the Brewer. We've changed things up slightly today. We've got Chriso, or as he's affectionately known around here, Chriso the Sicko. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. Good to have you here on this nice sort of crisp,
Yeah, it is a bit crisp.
sort of winter's day. Winter's certainly struck here in Queensland.
It has.
Yeah. Down in Melbourne last week, it was a little bit crisper than this. But, getting back to Victoria now, yeah, up in Queensland, it's sort of followed us back up. So good. So Chriso, you've been at the brewery for a while now, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
You've managed to avoid coming on this podcast, I think, since we've been doing
Yeah,
it.
for a while.
But finally, we've wrangled you on. So, mate,
Cracked me.
welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can't promise too much. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for us here at the brewery?
So I'm Chris. I'm operations manager for Revel Brewing. I work pretty closely with yourself, as you know.
Keeps me in line.
Trying to wrangle you a little bit, but you know, main things just day-to-day operations, scheduling, forecasting, stock management, logistics.
Spreadsheet creation,
Lots of spreadsheet creation, yeah. So
all the fun sort of stuff.
yeah, as you know, so
It
yeah.
basically keeps things ticking over.
I try to keep things ticking. Yeah,
Yes.
go in the right direction.
So of course, Beer with the Brewer wouldn't be an episode without actually cracking the beer. So
Yeah.
we
try
won't
this
sit
one
here with
out?
an empty glass, mate. Today we're road testing the Strawberry Daiquiri Gose. Let's crack it open, mate. So this one was canned a little over a week ago, if I recall. So still nice and fresh. Probably normally you'd associate, cheers, this sort of beer with maybe a bit of a warmer day, but anyway. What do you think of that one, mate?
Absolutely delicious, mate, as always. Can you tell us a little bit about how this one came about? Or?
Yes, this one, the Gose. So we've made, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 of these now over the journey. It's another one, I guess, or almost, I guess, a cousin to the sour series we make. Gose as a style comes from, once again, German heritage up in North Germany. And it has quite an interesting history in the beer world. It's been around for about 1,000 years. When I went over to Germany a couple of years ago, we actually visited where Gose first sort of came from and where it's still made to this day. But with us, we go through our normal sort of kettle sour process we do with the other sour beers. Sour it overnight. We use our house lactobacillus culture. Sour the beer.
Yeah, big words.
Big words. We'll get a bit technical. The main difference with this one, Gose as a style, generally is associated with being a little bit salty. So back where they used to brew it in the day, the legend goes that they had salt mines sort of 100 or 200 k's above where their water come from. So it was actually a fair bit of salinity in the water. So the beer there was sort of associated with it being salty. And then with brewing technology back in the day, almost all beer would have been a little bit sour and funky. They used to brew the beer and ferment it in the open top fermenters, much different to the clean sort of stainless tanks we have these days, especially for brewing. Basically like big bathtubs of varying sizes. Whatever was on the wind would blow in. And a building like this, it's a couple of 100 years old. There'll be all sorts of wild yeast and bacteria in the building. So this is actually be a cool place to do one day if we ever get that far. But yeah, basically whatever's in the air in the building would come in and sort of naturally sour or wild yeast, make the beer a little bit funky. But these days we can control it a little bit more to sort of get the flavour profile we're after. And then in terms of the Strawberry Daiquiri, we sit around, as you know, mate, and we go through our design process, which is always good fun. So this one, I think it was another sales rep idea. So
I think it was.
those ones are always the most sort of challenging. How do we make this into a beer?
Yep.
We spoke about the daiquiri and then we're like, oh, what sort of daiquiri flavours are good? Most people have been to the Gold Coast or Las Vegas or somewhere and walked around the streets drinking a daiquiri. But we thought strawberry. We've done a couple of strawberry beers in the past. The most recent one was the Strawberry Cream with the Bloody Brilliant Beers boys, which went pretty well.
Very well.
And then prior to that was the Strawberry Wishes, which was our first ever sour. So every time we've used the strawberries, it's always come out really nice.
Turns out really well.
Yeah. This one isn't quite as pink. There's not as much of the secret ingredient as in this one as we've used in the past to get that beautiful pink sort of colour. But flavour-wise, it's come out really nice. It's got that sort of salty, just slight salty base, nice acidity, and then we put a little bit of lime in there too. So it's sort of like a cocktail. That's sort of what we're aiming for with the daiquiri. A couple of months ago, we did the Margarita Gose. So this is, I guess, the next one in the series to that.
Next one in the series?
Yeah. So I was just saying off camera that I haven't actually really tried this since we canned it, so it's nice to give it a go.
Delicious.
So once again, a shout out to Verg for the awesome design. Lately, well, in the last year, I guess, since we've had our own canning line, we've put together the sour series. This is sort of, I guess, the next one, the Gose series. Done a couple of different IPAs, and we sort of build on the series and gives us something to add to. But you're always a big part of the design process, Chris, so keeping it ticking over. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how these designs come about and what we go through back of house so that people get something looking like that in their hand to drink.
So it starts at about a round table, you know.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of good ideas that come from many different parts of the business.
Good ideas might be a bit of a stretch. We have a lot of ideas.
We have a lot of ideas. You know, and then we all sit down together, filter through those and see what we can actually do. Yourself being a big part of, you know, creating these beers. And then it goes through a design process once we've selected a beer.
Back and forward with Verg. I guess the hardest part is, if it's not my idea, if it's, say, yourself has come up with this beer, how you take someone's concept, put that into a design brief that then goes to Verg, our designer, comes back to us and back and forward. I guess visualising what someone else has thought of, and then getting a design and also putting the beer together. Often, if it's someone else's beer idea, you're like, how do you translate into, I guess, what they have in their head, and then something that you can actually do in the brewery, and then that is then going to taste good.
It's going to taste good.
Yeah, so there's a lot of elements to try and pull together. And obviously the actual can design is a big part of that.
100%.
Which we need it looking good so that in amongst the world of beers out there, the punter's going to grab it off the shelf and give it a try. But yeah, there's an awful lot to it, isn't there? Behind the scenes.
There is, yeah.
Often they go on for a couple of months before we...
A lot of hours go into each and every limited beer.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of work behind the scenes to get these beers looking like they do.
So Matty, the shirt you're wearing isn't the Strawberry Daiquiri. Can you tell us a bit about why you're wearing that one instead of the Strawberry Daiquiri shirt?
Yes, mate. This is the Cola Chopper Chop Sour that we've just made for the Gabs Festival.
Yep.
That's just been on. So we had it up here in Brisbane 3 or 4 weeks ago. And we've just got back from Melbourne just last week. Well, this week after last weekend, where Gabs finishes up a big 3-day festival down in Melbourne at the Royal Exhibition Centre. So I thought I'd wear it proudly. Our beer came out, well, I thought it was quite cool. Actually,
it's different, it's interesting.
Yeah, we just spoke about design and ideas. Gabs is the one where you really sort of get to do something wild and wacky. It's the one off once a year for the festival. All those sort of crazy beers come out. So we got behind it, and this year we actually had quite a good stand at Gabs, and all wore the Cola shirts. I gave this a run down in Melbourne after we'd gone to the Beer Awards, so it was good fun. So I thought I'd better bust it out and give it another run. Just let everyone know we survived the Gabs Festival.
Survived Gabs.
Yeah.
2022.
Yes.
Survived.
Yeah. Probably wasn't looking this healthy on Monday after the weekend, but it's Friday. Here we are having a beer. We've come good. Ready for the next one. All right, Chris, thank Thanks for coming on, mate.
Thanks for having me, mate. Always a pleasure.
Yes. When can we look forward to having you on again, do you think?
2023, mate.
Once a year special.
That's right.
No, awesome. Cheers, mate.
Right,
Good
cheers.
to have you on. Thanks for
Thanks for having me.
sharing with us a little bit about what you do and what goes on behind the scenes to keep the brewery ticking over.
No problems, mate.
Awesome. Cheers,
Thank you.
mate.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.